Hey YouTube, this is Dean making another vid. If you like my content, please consider hitting the like button. Also, please consider subscribing, as it is very much appreciated. Okay, I said I'd do it. This is my smithy hammers. I've got two buckets. I don't know if the other one's in frame. This is my secondary bucket, and my primary bucket's here. I use buckets because it's easier to transport them in it. I like to take my own tools over to Andrew's place. He's got, I don't know, 50, 60 hammers. His primary hammers are in his hammer stand with his tongs, and while he's got a fantastic range of hammers, I like to use my own. I think once you become a blacksmith, I think you like to own your own tools and use your own tools, and that is fair enough. So I'll go through them. This is a secondary bucket because I don't use these that often. It's mainly, they're not as often used, so I put it in there. I really don't need to take it over to Andrew's place because I don't use them that often, and it's probably just a waste of time, but the occasional time that I would probably need them, I thank myself that I take it over. But I probably could use Andrew's specialty hammers that are in here and not worry about taking this bucket over. But it does have, like I showed you last time, it does have my file set in it, so it's got my files and my needle files in it. I also put my rasp and my half round in there as well. So, and I carry like spare gloves, because you always need spare gloves, a cooler to keep my drinks cold, spare gloves, because you always need spare gloves, because I don't wear a glove on my hammer hand, but I do wear it on my tong hand, because your tong hand tends to get hot, whereas a hammer hand I don't seem to worry about too much. So yeah, the other thing I've got in there at the moment, I've got some sandpaper, and that's about all the specialty stuff other than hammers, and some rag. When you're blacksmithing, rags are almost as important as hammers. Got these a little while ago. Got them for free. A pair of scrolling tongs. I always want a long shank, large scrolling tongs. Bit heavy. Yeah, I didn't like them as much as I thought I would, and I might modify them a little bit, and still they're good, but yeah, I think they're a little bit heavy. Gameco makes a bloody big, strong, these are 5-inch, and are made out of quarter-inch stock. So yeah, they tend to be a bit heavy in your holding gear. So yeah, they're a bit strong. Wooden mallet. Always got to have a wooden mallet. Doesn't mark your work. Straighten out twists. Yeah, I haven't used it much. I don't think I've used it ever. So yeah, but you got to have one. This video is going to be a while long, so yeah, just bear with me. Double peen hammer, cross and straight peen, really nice. These are good for drawing work out, and I don't like having peens on hammers as such. I prefer to have a double peen. So yeah, that's that gives you advantages of being able to do the whichever one you want to do. I thicken that one up a bit. That one's still pretty sharp. Yeah, it's a nice hammer. Andrew bought me this one. It's a really nice hammer too. It's almost the same as this, but yeah, it's still a fantastic hammer. Beautiful old vintage hammer. I love it. Yeah, I haven't used it very much at all. I don't think I ever used it as such yet, but I will. I will get around to using it. I've just cleaned it up a little bit, cleaned the pins up. I'm ready to use it. So yeah, as soon as I get a chance to get it used, I will use it. Little Gilpin. I love Gilpins. These are nice vintage English hammers. This one's only a small one. I think it's a £1/2. 3/4. Yeah, it's a nice little ball peen. I love it. Just for light work. Smallest hammer I've got, I think it's a 5 ounce. Just for tap, small tap. Really cheap. You've got to do, for really light work, you've got to have it. Bit of charcloth stuff. This was a Gilpin too, I think it was, or a lock. It's a lock. Converted it over to a straight peen. I do tend to convert them over. Once I converted this one over, it's really nice. It's straight and everything. I just it got regulated into this bucket, and it's it got superseded by other hammers, so I don't really needed it anymore. So once it went into this bucket, I don't really needed it. It's still a fantastic hammer. I think it's a £1.5, and yeah, I really like it. It's just I've got other hammers that have superseded it. Gilpin 4-pounder. I don't like heavy hammers. They wear me out. I've got tennis elbow, and 4 pounds are too heavy for me to swing for any length of time. And I'm teaching myself not to death grip, squeezing the hammer too much. That gives you sore elbows, and using the Hoffy technique, which allows the hammer to do the work, which will stop me from getting sore elbows. But I still like a lighter hammer, and the 4-pound is a good striking hammer, but I don't need it that often. So yeah, that's why it gets regulated to a my irregular bucket. My little Thor, a Thor soft hammer. So this is a brass replaceable head. Really nice. Need them just for when you don't want to mark your work. I haven't used it. It's it just in the bucket when I do need it. These are really hideously expensive to buy, but I've got it now that I bought it, but haven't had the chance to use it yet. But when I do need it, I will get it, and I will use it. That's my irregular bucket. I don't use the hammers in here that often, but if I ever need to, I just grab them out there and go for it. I do really like that little Gilpin. It's a really nice hammer. Don't know why, but I've gone over to using ball peens. Andrew doesn't have a lot of them, and I don't know why, but I've fallen in love with the bloody things. Regular bucket. My own mark. It's on a handle, so I can get it, put it on my work, flog the hell out of it. That's my O-touch mark. O for Orion. That's what it's. The big O stands for. My flatter. We pressed it out on the press, and then Andrew basically finished it off and made it. It's fantastic. It's got a little bit of rust on it. I'll hit it with the wire brush, clean it up. This is a really handy tool. Andrew and I have both got into it. Andrew's got another setup with his flatters. Got a different handle setup. I prefer them, and we both have found we prefer them like this, with a little short handle. You One person can do it. Put your work down, put the thing, bang on it, away you go. Flat it out, flat things out. It's a really, really nice setup. Best 3-pound straight peen hammer you'll ever buy. Andrew got him onto him. He's worn a handle out of one. I'm starting to get wearing out. That's a 3-pound Fiskars. They call it a club hammer. We round the peen on it, face the head up a bit, give it a bit of a round off. These are fantastic hammers. 3-pound is about the heaviest hammer I go to that I can use without wearing myself out too much. I can swing that consistently for a while before I get tired. My arm does start to hurt a little bit if I use it too much. I can use it all day, but I prefer a lighter hammer. But this is a fantastic hammer. If you want to buy a hammer, get one of these. The Fiskars 3-pound hammer. They're about $51 here in Australia. Best $51 you will pay. They did go up to $65 at one stage. They're even a good price at $65. I'd pay $100 for that hammer. They are that good. They are fantastic. Little short handle on them. I would prefer them with a 19-inch handle on them. I would prefer them. I did actually contact Fiskars and ask them to put a longer handle on it. That's just me, because I do prefer them with a longer handle. But yeah, fantastic hammer. $1.1 kilo engineer's hammer. This is my work hammer. This is the one I do everything with. If I want things done, this is the one I do it with. I love it. Ball peen hammer. Engineer's ball peen hammer. Engineer's hammers tend to be a little bit harder, so they do mark your anvils. Bloody things are stupidly hard. I don't know why they make them harder, but they tend to be a bit harder. We just I've faced the face off a little bit. I've cleaned up the ball a little bit. But this is a really nice hammer. It's a no brand. It's got a little bit of markings on there. I don't know who made it, but I think it was marked by TAFE, like it had a TAFE. It was used at TAFE school. But really nice handle. Yeah, fantastic. This is my go-to hammer. If I want to do work, this is what I do work with. It's my go-to hammer. That's the one I use all the time. Bought this lock a little while ago. It is a lock 1.5 pound, I think. Yeah, lock 1.5 pound straight peen. Cross peen. Yeah, fantastic. Don't like the shiny handle on it, but these two are my work hammers. Between the two of them, they are really nice hammers. These are the two I do a lot of work with. Yeah, so, like the only thing I prefer, this one's got a little bit bigger head, bigger face. That's got a little bit smaller face. They do a lot of work for me. Those two hammers are fantastic. Another one. It's a Farrier's hammer. 2 rounding face hammers. This thing is a really, really good hammer. I've fallen in love with it. I haven't been using it a lot lately, but every time I pick it up and start working with it, it works. It's unusual for a Farrier's hammer because it's got 2 rounding faces on it. Normally a Farrier's hammer's got a rounding face and a flat face, but this thing's got 2 rounded faces on it. So yeah, I don't know what they were thinking about it, but it's good because it doesn't matter which way you pick it up, you can just do work with it. So yeah, short handle. That's the only thing I prefer a little bit longer handle on the thing, but the handle's so nice. I'm not going to handle it like until that handle stops working. I'm not going to rehandle it. So yeah, I haven't been using it much lately. I'm going to have to start using it more. I love that hammer. My Gilpin straight peen. Yeah, she's a nice hammer. Head's on a little bit crooked, but yeah, because I rehandled it and then it just the way it is. If I'm not using those three hammers, this is the other one I pick up. It's just got the peen's really nice and thick. It's just a really good, solid hammer, and it just works. Yeah, I I really like Gilpin as a it's a beautiful old English vintage hammer maker, and yeah, just a fantastic brand, and they make a really nice hammer. So yeah, starting to get out on my lighter hammers. My Stanley, 1.25 pound. This is my light work hammer, and I have absolutely love it. This is I've fallen. As soon as I picked it up, it's an old hammer. Probably it's got its original handle on it. I was the head got a little bit loose, and I had to tap on it, and it was the handle was a little bit buggered, so I cleaned the handle up a little bit. I'm gonna have to rub some thing in it, just a bit of wax, just to clean that up. But this thing is such a beautiful old vintage Stanley, made in England, beautiful light work hammer. I can swing this thing all day. It just never lets me down. I cleaned up the ball. It had some pot marks in. I've been doing a lot of work with the flaring of the cobras between the two balls on these two. So the balls had started to get a little bit marked. So I've cleaned them all up. But this thing, it just feels so right in the hand. It's been thinned out really well here. It just works so well in my hand. I love this hammer. I am going to, I'll nearly cry when I have to replace the handle on it, because yeah, this handle suits me so well. It's been loved, and it's been worked, and you can feel it, like it just fits my hand. And I know when I pick this up, I know where it's going to fall. I know how hard I can hit with it. I know I can do things with it, and this is my hammer. Like between those two hammers there, they are my hammers. My little lock. This is my light work hammer. When I do little scrolls, little straightening, little bits, this is my other light work hammer. This one, I bought it for $10. It's such a tiny little hammer. The very unusual handle. It's got that octagonal handle, and the head was starting to get loose. I tapped it. I ended up splitting, which was silly. I don't know why. I ended up splitting it, so I had to round that off a bit. But yeah, I drove a wedge in there, so she's all wedged up again, because the wedge actually fell out. So yeah, anyway, I've cleaned that up. It heads on really good now again. She's not coming off again now. But this thing just is so good for light work. This is my adjusting hammer for light work, and it's yeah, fantastic. Lock number one, I think it's a 10 ounce, and yeah, it fixes everything. All the little scroll work I do, this is what I adjust with. Rounding hammer. Andrew made this one up. It's a replica of a another hammer that he made up, and we were just doing it out of on the press at my mate's place. He's got the 20-ton press, and I really liked it, and so Andrew made a replica of it, and he made up a rounding hammer for me, and fantastic. It's just a treasured item for as a gift for me, and I really like it. It doesn't get a lot of work. It's in my primary bucket, but when I need a rounding face, this is the one I pick up, and it works really well. Then I got my 2 cobbler's hammers. These, Andrew's got a fantastic line. He's got 6 or 8 cobbler's hammers. These are not for just doing cobbler's work. They are fantastic blacksmithy hammers. This one's a number 2. I like the 2-headed ones. I don't like these ones with the cross peen on them as much. They don't do as much work for me. Beautiful wide heads. Better. They've got the 2 heads on them. They're just beautiful. I rehandled this one. I talked about it in the other video, my latest forging video. But this one, they are just fantastic hammers for doing forging with. And yeah, I'm glad I got it. I don't think I'll buy any more. I've got this one, I've got the lighter one, and fantastic. I wish I could get the light. There's another one that's lighter that's got the 2 heads, but the heads are about this far apart. But they've got the lighter heads, the light head, but yeah, the faces are about that far apart. Wish I could find one. Andrew's got one, but I've never been able. They're very rare. You just can't get them. Yeah, if I do find one, and you pay a lot of money for it, these are like $60 or $80 each, which I don't pay for vintage hammers. You normally only pay $40 or $50, $40, $30 for a vintage hammer, and then yeah, that's one thing I will note. I buy vintage hammers. As you can see, I've only got 1 or 2 hammers there that are not vintage. The rest of them are all vintage hammers, except for the ones had made. So yeah, that's what I do. I get vintage hammers, and then if I have to, I rehandle them. If I have to, I convert them. But most of them are all ball peen, or if they're not, I convert them over to straight peen, because I like straight peens. I don't like cross peens. I don't use cross peens very often. Straight peens are more useful for me. So, you know, like as far as it goes. And I use a ball peen more often than anything else. They are the more useful for me. I tend to use a ball peen more than I use anything else. So yeah, if you're going to do hammers, that would be my suggestion, is have a look at either a straight peen vintage or a ball peen engineer's hammers. I've only got one left. Is a rubber mallet. These are so useful for handling. You can hit and they don't mark any of your work. You can hit things with it. They don't mark any of your work. So yeah, always have a rubber mallet. You need a rubber mallet for any work in blacksmithing. They're cheap. They're only a couple of bucks each. But the heads come off. I've had to glue this head back on a couple of times. So yeah, and that's it. That's all my hammers. Yeah, I don't need any others other than that. What I've got there. Yeah, and as I said, I buy vintage hammers and go from there. You don't need to buy $300 blacksmith hammers. I've never seen the point in it. You can get blacksmith hammers made, and you'll pay $300 for them. It's as simple as that. I've seen them, and I don't begrudge people for them making them, but in all honesty, buy a vintage hammer and then, or go to the markets. I bought that at the markets. I think it cost me $20. It's the best $20 I ever spent. I've used that to make I don't know how many strikers. Between that and my other smaller lock, and the lock cost me $10. I can make a striker between, I don't think there's many strikers that I can't make with those two hammers. It cost me $30 for hammers. I think that one cost me $20. I'm sure it did. It was $20, and that one cost me $10 at the markets. That's it, you know, like you don't need to spend $300 on a blacksmith hammer. If you want to, go for it. I'm not saying don't, but you don't have to. If you've got the money, do it. I would never say don't. Or if you've got a blacksmith mate who makes beautiful blacksmith hammers, by all means buy it. And if you've got the money for it, why not? Who wouldn't? You know, like if I won Lotto, I'd be buying blacksmith hammers. I'd love to get a rounding hammer made, and it'd probably cost me $300 or $400 to get the one I want made, because it'd be a long. I want the head here fairly long, and a rounding on one side, and then again fairly long here, but a flat on the other side. So yeah, and it'll be 1.1 kilos, so 2 pounds, just over 2 pounds, and that'll be my blacksmithing hammer. And that'd be, yeah, if I got it made, it'd probably be, yeah, $300. But I'd want the handle to be very similar to that standard, wherever it is. Because with it here, see how it's thin there? That makes it that there absorbs a lot of the, doesn't transfer a lot of the force, that all the vibrations go through to your elbow. So yeah, that's exactly the handle, because you'll see a lot of the really old hammers have got this very thin neck here. So yeah. Anyway, that's my blacksmith hammers. Yeah, very proud of what I've got. Me just rambling on about them. I don't need any more. I've got, and I say that, and I'll probably buy one tomorrow. But yeah, I'm always looking through eBay, vintage hammers. I love them. I've got Andrew's instilled a passion in me for hammers. I am on the lookout for, as I said, that cobbler's hammer. But yeah, they're as rare as hen's teeth. So yeah, I'll probably never get one. But yeah, I do love my hammers. They improve my craft. So yeah, you can never have enough of them as far as blacksmiths goes. You see blacksmiths, they'll have, some of them have got 70 or 80, 100 hammers in their collection. And they have them all different ones. They might have a variation. They might have 5 different variants of the same hammer. They might be, but they're only slight variations, because you'll find you need a slight variation on each one, because it'll be for a slight different bit of work, and then you'll make a tool just specifically for that tool. So yeah, and we tend to do that. We tend to make our own tools and whatnot and modify it. And that's why I did that for this, because that was a ball peen hammer, but I'd find I probably should not have converted that over, because I probably would have found that the ball peen would have been more useful for me, but I did. But that's a beautiful thick cross peen, straight peen. So yeah, you know, like, and it is quite useful. So yeah. Anyway, That's my blacksmithing hammers. I said I'd do it, and I did. Thanks for watching.